video on mobile, and we're going to give it to them. And this is the perfect combination in order to move forward and do that. And to be honest with you, Frederica, what do we care the most about from millennials? They don't want these big, well, these cable packages for channels they don't watch, right? So here is an opportunity possibly to get some bundles on mobile that are a little bit more customizable and include maybe the channels that you watch more often and include ones that you don't. And also, the executives are saying, look, we want our Reuters is now reporting that the Clinton campaign says this deal raises some questions. To what degree? So, listen, at the end of the day, regulators and lawmakers have to examine this deal, and they have to make sure that consumers aren't hurt at all, right? That is the chief concern. Does this in any way present a negative for consumers when you have two large companies coming together? And there is a real risk here, right? The government has blocked other big deals before, and on the lawmaker front today, we had the members of the Senate Subcommittee on Antitrust come out, and we have a statement from them that says, you know, we've carefully examined the consolidation in the cable and video content industries to ensure that it does not harm consumers. An acquisition of Time Warner by AT&T would potentially raise significant antitrust issues, which the subcommittee would carefully examine. Look, at the end of the day, the concern for regulators here is to make sure that the content that is part of this deal, which is a broad piece of content, right, is not exclusive just to AT&T's platforms. That you're not talking about, you know, locking up content and not making it available on other platforms to other distributors, like Comcast, for example. The executives of both companies say they have a high degree of confidence that this deal will pass muster, because at the end of the day, we're talking about two different companies. One is Time Warner, which creates content. AT&T distributes content. So it's two different companies. It's not a monopolistic kind of scenario. Frederica?
All right, Christina Leshy, thank you so much. All right, of course, if you want any more on this, visit CNNmoney.com. Meantime, back to politics. Donald Trump laid out a plan to jail immigrants who illegally crossed the border multiple times. But is his plan legal? And what would this do to our criminal justice system?
When somebody comes in, we send them out. They come back in, they go to prison quite a while. They come back again, they go 5 years.
Now that FedEx has helped us simplify our e-commerce, we can focus on bigger issues, like our passive-aggressive environment.
So we're gonna sell different. Hey, there are no bad suggestions here.
No matter how lazy you feel. In modern day, just say what's in your head without thinking. Very brave.
It's like 10 living proofs that looks.
Mercedes-Benz makes history selling at just over $30,000. And to think this one actually has a surround sound stereo. The 2016 CLA. Lease the CLA 250 for $299 a month at your local Mercedes-Benz dealer. Mercedes-Benz, the best in the country.
Baxter's owner left him starving. Without food or water, Baxter was so weak and sick he could barely stand. The ASPCA rushed him to the emergency unit. Baxter was clinging to life, but we were determined to do everything we could to save him. Hopefully one day, Baxter will be able to forget all that's been done to him. It's unthinkable that anyone could harm such a defenseless animal like Baxter. But you can help. Please go online or call with your $18 monthly gift. It's just 60 cents a day to help rescue animals like Baxter, provide them with emergency medical care, food, and shelter, and most of all, the second chance that animals like Baxter need from someone like you. Your help is urgently needed, so please call or go online to join in the next 10 minutes, and we'll send you this free membership kit, including this limited edition 150th anniversary t-shirt you can proudly wear. If you've ever thought about helping, this is the time. Because there are innocent animals like Baxter being harmed right now. And their only chance is you. Please go online or call now.
All right, this is the CNN Newsroom. Thanks so much for being with me. I'm Frederica Whitfield. So Donald Trump is releasing new details on his plan to tackle illegal immigration if he wins the election.
But it establishes a 2-year mandatory minimum federal prison sentence. This is people coming in illegally for illegally re-entering the United States after a previous deportation, and a 5-year mandatory minimum for illegally re-entering for those with felony convictions, multiple misdemeanor convictions, or 2 or more prior deportations. So when somebody comes in, we send them out. They come back in, they go to prison quite a while. They come back again, they go 5 years.
All right, joining me now to discuss, CNN legal analyst Danny Savalas, also here CNN opinion writer, attorney, and immigration analyst Raul Reyes. Good to see both of you. All right, so Donald Trump's solution to impose mandatory minimum sentences, Danny, as president, if elected, is that something a president could do?
It could be. I mean, you would have to have that as legislation passed by Congress. That's how we get these mandatory minimums. But as a criminal defense attorney, I'm obviously a little bit biased, but I would say that mandatory minimums have not had that successful a run, certainly in the drug context. And as it is, the average offender, I mean, it's a 10-year statutory maximum for illegal reentry as it is, but average offenders, they already serve around 18 months, give or take. So this 2-year mandatory minimum he's advocating isn't that shocking. It may be more a question of enforcement, and that is the true power a president and the Department of Justice have. Not in enacting legislation, but in enforcing it.
All right, so questions about enforcing it potentially, and then Raul, would this act as a potential deterrent, meaning it would discourage people from crossing the border?
Well, I'm not sure it would necessarily discourage people from entering the country because, well, first of all, just remember, when we look at the broad picture, illegal immigration from Mexico is down. There are more Mexicans currently leaving the country than they are entering the country illegally. The border is more militarized than ever before, and the border apprehensions are down. I believe our undocumented population is down 9% from 2007. So that's the backdrop. The way Donald Trump is choosing to look at things, he's viewing the situation as though we have an out-of-control border with thousands of people pouring across. That's his reality. What he leaves out of the equation, what I think is very important to remember, is the cost factor when we talk about having a legislative buy-in. It costs $160 a day to keep someone, for instance, in immigration detention, which is basically intended to be like a temporary prison situation. It costs about $31,000 a year to keep someone in prison for 1 year. So potentially, in the name of trying to deter illegal immigration, we're looking at thousands of dollars running up in our U.S. prison system, whereas what we have right now, we already have bans on people. For example, anyone who's undocumented who leaves the country now, even with the intent to legalize their status or apply for a visa, it already triggers a ban on reentry, which can be between 3 years, 10 years, or even permanently. So you have to remember when we look at this, that Donald Trump's viewpoint does not necessarily line up with the reality of the situation on the border.
So Danny, Raul was also underscoring that, the number of illegal immigrants living in the U.S. has gone down, and if that's the case, does that mean that the current laws are working sufficiently, or at least addressing some of those issues that have become cornerstones of Donald Trump's campaign?
it may not be the issue of the laws themselves, but it's enforcement. I mean, enforcement is a function of two things. First, how interested is the executive branch in enforcing this and the agencies? And second, do they have the resources and the power to do so? You know, when Donald Trump talks about a mandatory minimum, it's a really amazing thing we do. For illegal reentry, we will jail someone, we'll put them in prison for a period of time, after which we will deport them. But that entire time, we're paying for them in prison. So when you think about it, Donald Trump is talking about getting rid of fraud and waste and everything. But if you mandatory minimum someone for 10 years, for example, in prison, you're paying for them. They would have been deported anyway. You just kept them longer.
Raul?
Well, exactly. So that goes back to the cost factor. And here's something else to think about. Donald Trump has, as part of this immigration proposal, which he outlined in Gettysburg, he has also talked about, for example, refusing visas to countries that do not want to take criminal deportees back. And the prominent country in that group would be China. Right now, if we have someone who's convicted here and is deported, China basically will not accept them, so we're paying for their cost of incarceration anyway. The fact is, under a 2001 Supreme Court decision, I think it was Lithuanian national, the Zadekes case, the U.S. government, if a country will not take them back within 6 months, after 6 months, the U.S. is obligated to release these prisoners. So that's, again, not only are we talking legislative buy-in, we are potentially talking about changing the law as decided by the Supreme Court if Donald Trump is going to be trying to force China in some way to send these, to accept these deportees back, or for the United States to keep them locked up here. And we're, again, looking at the broad picture, the outlines of Donald Trump's plan involve getting into a dispute with China, our #1 trading partner, getting into a potential dispute with Mexico over overpaying for his wall. He's gone back and forth about who's going to pay for it. Over the weekend, he said that Mexico is now going to reimburse us, but then that evening in Ohio, he again said that Mexico is going to pay for that wall. So there is some confusion about what his plan is. It's also important to remember that basically, no matter whose poll you look at, CNN, New York Times, Washington Post, the American public does not favor the border wall as a solution to immigration problems. By about 3-to-1 margin, they favor legalization of some path to citizenship.
All right, Raul Rez, Danny Tavallos, thank you so much, gentlemen. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, straight ahead. The fight to liberate Mosul from ISIS control. I report next.
Read the prompter. There you go. Read the prompter. Don't the input.
Major objective. It does not complete the consolidation of Iraqi control.
Read the prompter. Don't want your input. Read the prompter. Do your job. There you go.
Introducing the new turbocharged Golf Ball Track with 4-motion all-wheel drive. Soon to be everywhere. Who says I shouldn't have a soda every day? My doctor, my dentist, definitely my wife. Wait, I know what I want. Make sparkling water cold and drink 42% more water every day. SodaStream. Love your water. Everywhere I look around, every sight and every sound, love is in the air, in the rising of the sun. When the day is nearly done, all you need is Ecuador, like nowhere else, all in one place, so close. Ecuador is all you need.
What if we designed a paint that not only made your bathroom look like a spa, but stood up to the humidity of a shower this steamy? This steamy. Get it? Even this one. If it's a matte finish paint and can resist any amount of moisture, is it still paint? Find Aura Bath and Spa, only at your Benjamin Moore retailer.
Anyone with type 2 diabetes knows how it feels to see your numbers go up, despite your best efforts. But what if you could turn things around? What if you could
Love your numbers. Discover once daily Invokana. It's the #1 prescribed SGLT2 inhibitor that works to lower A1C. Invokana is a pill used along with diet and exercise to significantly lower blood sugar in adults with type 2 diabetes. And in most clinical trials, the majority reached an A1C goal of 7% or lower. Invokana works around the clock by sending some sugar out of your body through the process of urination. It's not for lowering systolic blood pressure or weight, but it may help with both. Invokana can cause important side effects, including dehydration, which may cause you to feel dizzy, faint, lightheaded, or weak upon standing. Other side effects may include kidney problems, genital yeast infections, changes in urination, high potassium, increases in cholesterol, risk of bone fracture, or urinary tract infections, possibly serious. Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis, which can be life-threatening. Stop taking and call your doctor right away if you experience symptoms, or if you experience symptoms of allergic reactions such as rash, swelling, or difficulty breathing or swallowing. Do not take Invokana if you have severe liver or kidney problems or are on dialysis. Tell your doctor about any medical conditions and medications you take. Using Invokana with the sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar. It's time to turn things around. Lower your blood sugar with Invokana. Imagine loving your numbers. There's only one Invokana. Ask your doctor about it by name.
Oh, welcome back. New details on a deadly bus crash near Palm Springs, California. The NTSB is sending a team to investigate the crash that involved a tour bus and a big rig truck. As many as 10 people were killed, 21 others taken to the hospital with injuries. A hospital that received 14 patients says 5 of them are in critical condition. Westbound Interstate 10 is expected to remain closed for several more hours, and we expect to get more details in a news conference scheduled for the next hour. In Iraq right now, Kurdish Peshmerga fighters are within 5 miles of Mosul after days of fighting to recapture the city from ISIS insurgents. U.S. Defense Secretary Ash Carter made a surprise visit to Iraq this weekend and said that so far there have been no surprises in the offensive.
I'm encouraged by what I see. So far, it is proceeding according to our plan. We've got tough fighting ahead, and the U.S. will continue to play its part.
Mosul is the last ISIS stronghold in Iraq, and there are growing concerns for the safety of some 1 million civilians caught right inside that city. CNN's Nick Payton-Walsh is in nearby Erbil. So, Nick, we just heard from Ash Carter there say that this is going as expected, but what is happening exactly today?
Well, it's been unclear really what the Pentagon's expectations or timetable have been, so of course Ash Carter will put a positive spin on. I have to say, the territory we've seen Peshmerga fighters, often with US Special Forces, very much in their first convoy of armor, helping them out in that fight. That's slow going, a lot to go around main population areas. Interestingly enough, today the Peshmerga say they have pushed forward substantially through a lot of territory, saying that one of their objectives today was to clear about 100 square kilometers of territory. These are the villages outlying very far from Mosul and the plains around that key city. Many thought that challenge would perhaps have been quite easy for the Peshmerga with a lot of coalition air power to achieve. It seemed to have been slow. Today they reported substantial progress. We've seen an awful lot from eyewitnesses of artillery being used, B-52 bombers being used. In fact, one senior US official saying one bomber came back with an empty bomb cargo. That's the level of firepower they've been using since the Peshmerga complained they weren't getting enough coalition air support. Ash Carter today saying, yes, he expects a difficult fight ahead, certainly. And one US official I spoke to saying they expect this to be a multi-month endeavour. This is going to be a long, definite fight, no doubt at all. Today there's 3 minutes more. That was meant to be a challenge. They say today, in fact, during the press conference, they learned news of that between President Obama, the head of the Kurds here, and Ash Carter. Obviously, a lot of symbolism here in the early days of the fight. The key question we have to ask is how long is it going to take and how many resources will be used in order to get towards the urban sprawl of Mosul, and most importantly, how clear will the land around that area actually be for refugees to leave and for the Iraqi army to resupply themselves when they actually have a much more complicated fight at the city of Mosul itself, Frederick.
And if indeed Mosul were to be liberated, is there much discussion about what the concerns are after that?
Well, that's the enormously hard to answer question. What part of the many different factions trying to exert an influence in this fight actually get a say over that population centre itself? The official plan is the Iraqi army, along with local police and what's referred to as Sunni paramilitary forces, who are the same ethnic group as the population inside of Mosul itself. They're supposed to take control. We have a whole range of other factions around this city who may want a part of the post-settlement, and then there's a broader question of, given the territorial divides in Iraq here, whether or not the Kurds choose to fight other groups around them as well. This could be messy, but still a larger issue. But what actually happens with this fight for Mosul is yet to be decided.
All right, thank you so much for reporting from your Erbil, Iraq. All right, straight ahead, whoever wins Ohio, right on the race to the White House, wins the presidential race. Well, coming up, one couple in that critical state explains why they are undecided and why Trump is doing well there.
Is the break from the status quo?
Maybe a mentality of being American first, worry about if you're Republican or Democrat. Let's be an American, get things fixed.
Everybody has a flashlight. But can your flashlight do this? Or how about this? The Bell & Howell Tactical Flashlight can. Similar to flashlights used by elite military units, the Bell & Howell Taclight can do things no ordinary flashlight can do. It's so bright it can be seen up to 2 nautical miles away. And if that something that goes bump in the night turns out to be someone, only a Taclight has a synchronized strobe that can stun and disorient would-be attackers. A car motor will stop working at sub-zero temperatures, but even getting frozen in a block of ice couldn't make our Taclight stop working. And it'll keep working when fully submerged in water, even 212-degree boiling water. It's tough enough to survive getting run over by the Humvee. Try that with a regular flashlight. Compact and lightweight, it goes where you go. So you can feel safe in dark places at night, or just have the right light for emergency situations. And there's never been a better choice for camping, fishing, or hunting. What else? Buy preset modes. It's made of high-grade aircraft aluminum. The bulb lasts 100,000 hours. I mean, it's just nothing like it on the market today. This offer won't last long, so here's how to get yours.
Tactical flashlights of this quality are selling right now for $60 or more. But Bell & Howell has slashed their price to just $19.99, and they'll even ship it to you free. Plus, every Taclight comes with a lifetime guarantee. And that's not all. Order today and you can get a second Taclight. Just pay a separate fee. You can get 2 Taclights backed by a lifetime guarantee for the amazing price of just $19.99 and get free shipping. Here's how to order.
To get your Taclight for only $19.99 and get a second one free, call 1-800-970-1113 or visit TryTaclight.com. This offer is not available in stores. Call 1-800-970-1113, 1-800-970-1113, or order online at TryTaclight.com.
What is life? Life is a fight. It's inspiring, terrifying, and not what you expect.
I'm more of a friend than I am a prostitute.
What's it like to make a living off lust?
I'd rather do this than stocking shops at Walmart.
What's at stake for you here?
My kids need them, and I haven't made money in a week. This is life. This is real life.
Tonight at 10 on CNN. WideSweb.com. Build your business website free. If you run a business, you take risks.
Just over 2 weeks until Election Day, the number of battleground states is growing. A poll shows Hillary Clinton is within
what do people really fear? Economic collapse. I think that's the biggest fear. You look at the numbers though, the economy has gotten better. Not much of it. But why don't people feel that fear? And without the oil boom, the fracking industry, people would have been hurt. That's brought money into the area. It would have been a lot more distressed economy without that happening.
Carroll County is Eastern Ohio's most drilled region. The oil and gas company uses land from the Daniels to pump natural gas. It supplements their income. But at the height of the shale boom, it made many farmers here millionaires. But oil prices tanked, reinforcing fears of government overregulation and a Middle East oil glut. And Mr. Trump tapped in.
We're going to not let the EPA destroy our companies in natural gas and shale and all of the
Old address. .4509 Raccoon Trail. Place to live at.
Invest for your personal goals and stay on track for retirement. The revolution of smarter, straightforward, personalized investing is starting. We're leading.
Work out.
48 minutes, 34 seconds. 48 minutes, 37 seconds. Set out of court. Any new leg, organ, a new ear, new eyeball? Tony the Ninja. Private Eye.
Don't get tricked this Halloween. Treat yourself to a Ring video doorbell. Ring lets you monitor your front door from your smartphone. Hardwired or battery powered Ring installs in just minutes on any phone. Available at ring.com and these 5 retailers.
Well, thank you so much.
Boring. Laughing.
This is Life with Lisa Lane. New episode tonight at 10 on CNN.
All right, the 2016 election, the gift that keeps on giving. When it comes to late night laughs, Saturday Night Live, once again, skewering Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, splitting their final presidential debate.
Are you reading the teleprompter? Yeah, right. Sure you are. Of course you are.
Here's the clip.
Let's talk immigration. Mr. Trump, why are your immigration policies better than Secretary Clinton?
Because she wants open borders, and that's crazy. I mean, people are just pouring into this country from Mexico, and a lot of them are very bad hombres.
I got Tinko. Rapist. This thing is they're all living in hell, and if you love me, I don't.